infinity and beyond!
There's no bigger name in skating video games than Tony Hawk. I mean, if you play any skateboarding games and you've enjoyed them, you've likely played one, if not all of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series of games. Hopefully you played the earlier ones, which are actually pretty damn good. The newer ones, not so much. But around the time these were very popular, I remember this Disney game coming out, Disney Extreme Skate Adventure, for the GameCube and the PS2 and whatnot. And I remember thinking at the time, like, it's just a, kid's version of Tony Hawk. But I never played it until very recently, and there's a lot more merit behind that assumption that the game is just a kid's version of Tony Hawk, because the game engine actually is the Tony Hawk game engine, and the characters are just Disney characters replacing all the actual stars of the Tony Hawk series. So instead of Bucky Lasek and Tony Hawk doing 900s and lip grinds, you have Buzz Lightyear and Rafiki doing their own versions of tricks. And something I actually liked about the game is that they really encompass the entire atmosphere of Disney and the characters into the gameplay. So you're not doing, like kickflips with Buzz Lightyear, you're doing cosmic space jumps, and to infinity and beyond are the name of some of the gaps you jump over, as you would in regular games. So I liked how it really immersed you in that sort of gameplay, and like I said before, I was really shocked with how, well, good the game actually was. Now, and that's not to say it's better than, say, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, which in my mind is the best one they made. It's just this is a very, very approachable version of the game, and I was surprised at how good it was. Something else I didn't know about, you can play as human kids from the game, but Activision actually held a contest to see which actual kids would star in the game, and they selected, I think it's about 10 characters to star in the game, and that's pretty cool. You can play as, Woody and Jessie from Toy Story if you want, or you can play as yourself. And on top of that, if you didn't make it into the game, there is a pretty capable Create a Skater option in there, again, transferring over from the Tony Hawk series. And I'm impressed. Really, I got the game cheap, and for that price, I think it was a really good deal. Right off the bat, I'd say it's worth a look if you're a fan of Disney or Tony Hawk series of games. Being modeled after the Tony Hawk series, there is a lot of similarities between the two games. So each level, you have a few set of goals that you need to accomplish before you unlock enough points, if you will, to get to the next stage. These include really common things like collecting the letters to spell out skate, or going to some character who needs help and all you have to do is go grind on some sort of rail to open something up, and things like that. And these little objectives are fun ways to explore the whole level, and the levels themselves are actually pretty neat levels. They are all modeled after the Disney settings that the characters come from. So the Toy Story levels take place in areas like Andy's room, the Lion King levels are in all the valleys and whatnot, and Tarzan's are in the jungle, and it's neat. The attention to detail is actually really cool. For example, when I was in the Pizza Planet level for Toy Story 2, the little green aliens are the ones that give you the quests, and all of the video games that you see in the movie are pretty much represented in the game, so you can kind of see the alien slime, machines kind of all over the place, and it's really neat. And if you're a fan of Toy Story and you've seen those things, you can appreciate it that much more. And the same thing goes for the Tarzan levels and the Lion King levels. I was also kind of surprised by the inclusion of McDonald's as a sponsor, so if you're playing in the Hollywood level, which is almost kind of reserved for just the actual human kids, you get these quests where you have to hand out food from McDonald's, and it actually is McDonald's, and they say, give this guy a McDonald's apple pie, and you have to go do it. So that was kind of surprising. I didn't know that product placement was in there, but again, it's just the same sort of goal-minded formula that the rest of the levels follow. In terms of gameplay, it's actually a lot easier to play this one. I think they compensated for the demographic of the game being younger, so the gameplay isn't as challenging as the original Tony Hawk series. So for example, most of your moves are just one direction and a button, and you perform the move. It's a bit easier to land, kick flips and stuff, and I feel like you jump higher and get speed faster than you would in the other Tony Hawk games. Not only that, but if you just hold buttons down as you are jumping in the air, you'll automatically grind and stuff. You don't have to hit a grind button necessarily, so that's a bit easier. Balancing is easier, so you can rack up points really, really fast. And overall, the game just felt much simpler to do, and you could pull off these crazy tricks a lot easier. There is definitely a large amount of novelty in the game. I mean, seeing Buzz Lightyear run around on his little skateboard thing and do tricks like to infinity and beyond, or to fight Zurg in a level, is pretty cool if you like that kind of stuff, but if not, you'll think it's just kind of silly and superfluous. That's, I mean, that's what the game's going for, and it pulls it off, so it's worth it in that sense. Like I said earlier, I was pretty shocked by how much the game actually has to offer and how much I didn't know about it, like the recruitment of actual kids to be in the game, that little contest, the ease of gameplay, the amount of detail in the levels themselves, and how they actually really do feel like something you'd see from the movies because most of them are taken from actual scenes. So that really surprised me, and I recommend playing it. I mean, if you like Tony Hawk games, you'll like this because it is, you know, using the same engine as that game, and it's a good one. It was when the Tony Hawk series was in its prime, and if you have a younger gamer around you or someone that wants to play, you know, one of these more advanced games, this is a great way to start out. I don't see myself playing it much more after the first few hours, just because it gets kind of old, like any Tony Hawk would, after you've done all the tricks and seen all the levels. But if you're looking for another way to play a good skateboarding game, you know, Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure is a definite choice for you.